Oh, thanks, Carly, for recording. I always forget that bit. Hey, Claire, good to see you. Thank you for popping that in the chat. So yeah, do introduce yourself. Just while we're waiting for give it a couple more minutes for people to come in, do introduce yourself, and also, as the sentence says there, what's your main careers priority for your school or college this academic year? We won't hold you to it either, by the way. It's just to get a general gist. Lindsay and Wex, yeah. Hiya, Arden. That's a nice name. Hi, Arden. Hazel, Gary, main priority, growing awareness of apprenticeships and also offshore energy roles. Oh, very specific. Love that. Lauren's looking at the strategic side, which is great. Claire looking at work experience. Hazel, work experience. Joe, welcome from Mayflower. Work experience being normalised. Yep, just being part and parcel. Absolutely. Sam from St Mark's, welcome. Strengthening careers provision, new employer relationships. Oh, Claire, moving over to Unifog. Julie, keeping going with the good work. That's good to hear. Keep developing it. Great. Do keep popping any of your main priorities and introductions into the chat. Carly, are you happy for us to get going with the agenda?
Yeah, just we'll work through it, but obviously I'm sharing my screen, so just give us the nod, Hyla, when you want me to move on.
Oh no, it's going to be the next slide, please.
Next slide,
oh, I hate it. Hate it.
I'm having COVID flashbacks.
Oh no. Thanks, Carly. Yeah, welcome everyone to term 3's kickoff, which I can't believe we're in term 3 already. I'm sure you guys are feeling the same. And welcome. As you guys will know, if you've come before, this is an opportunity for us to just give you a bit of an update on what's coming up from the Careers Hub and potentially other partners as well over the next term. And to give you some updates on what has happened as well, and some of the feedback, and that's exactly what we got coming up for you today. So the session is being recorded, so you can watch it back again after, and there will be a email that's sent out to you tomorrow with links to some of the bits that we discuss and to the video recording as well. But the plan is to first of all go over some of the highlights from last term, and it was a pretty busy term, so there's quite a lot happening, so I'll run through a couple of the highlights. Both Maddie and Claire are going to give you a little bit of insights and updates in terms of the work experience pilot that's happening. We'll have a little look at what's coming up over the rest of this term, have a little look at some data. That's not quite as horrific as that sounds. It's more just picking your brains on a few bits that seem to be slightly outside of the norm on that. Looking at dates of things coming up and potentially what your next steps are as well. And we want this to be as interactive as we can. So if you've got questions, chuck your hand up, put them in the chats. There will be a couple of points where I'll throw out some questions to you guys as well. So do please get as involved as you want to and as you can on that too. So let's skip across to some of the spring highlights. Next slide, please. So yeah, just to fill you in on a few bits that happened last term. So we had our careers leader training. So there was 11 careers leaders that attended a 2-day, quite intensive 2 days of careers leader training. That was delivered from Careers Connect. So that's aligned to the the benchmark 1 qualified careers leader, so that was aligned to that. So great for those 11 people to be coming. Feedback on that was really positive. We did have some feedback beforehand that some other careers leaders really wanted to attend but couldn't do those dates. So we are in the throes of getting some dates together for the autumn term for the next round on that as well. So watch this space on that one. Just by a show of reactions, did anyone in the meeting attend that careers leader training? Either shout or or react or whatever. Or we had one. Oh, brilliant, Hazel, you did. Oh, we had a couple of people. Brilliant, that's good. So yeah, so they'll be repeated again next term, and the sort of menu of support for that will come out soon. We also had our parental engagement workshop. So that was Charlotte in our team that did that, which went really fantastically. Feedback was really positive, very much around I guess understanding the benefits of engaging with parents, and also some of the tips and tricks on how to do that. And as I've said many a time, careers education tends to be a relatively non-contentious subject with parents. So it's usually quite a good one to build relationships based on. So some really great resources and workshop that came out of that, and potentially we're looking for that for a second time as well. We have had, I think last term there was 4 peer-to-peer review sessions. Laura, you'll tell me if that's wrong, I'm sure, that took place. If you check out LinkedIn, you'll see some really great feedback from various people that went on those. We've even had one bit of feedback from a school who attended one of those peer-to-peer reviews. So for those of you who don't know, peer-to-peer is when we have 3 schools or colleges that get together to look over their results from their internal leadership review, and then look to see what their 2 or 3 main priorities and actions could be from that, at quite a high level. So we're looking at a strategic level rather than sort of actions on the ground, so to speak. But really, really useful. And the main bit of feedback that we get from those, because they're whole days, along with SLT or head teachers attending with the careers leader, and the main feedback we get is just being given the opportunity to be taken away from all of the other stuff and focusing in solely on careers for a day. Resetting a little bit is actually really useful. And we had one careers leader at a recent peer-to-peer who undertook a recent peer-to-peer, and they went away and have fed back that actually since that, careers is now on the school improvement plan and is being fully embedded. So that's absolutely amazing, and the sort of impact that we want that to be having. We haven't released yet the Positive Destinations final report, but are due to very soon. So Positive Destinations, for those of you who don't know, is a mentoring program that we run with the alternative provisions across Essex, looking to support year 11s who are due to transition into college or sixth form or another option. And it's a NEET prevention strategy. Initial findings from that, this is I want to say 3rd year that we've run it, and every year every young person that goes on to that is at risk of becoming NEET. NEET rates from alternative provisions are about 40% nationally, and actually this programme reduces it to about 20% from those provisions. So it's really amazing programme, and we're just hoping to secure some further funding for that at the moment, but really positive feedback from each of the alternative provisions on that too. Take a breath, hold on. So careers leader induction, I know we've had quite a few new careers leaders this year, and so last term there was term 4 was careers leader induction that was going through. Really great for the new careers leaders within our hub. And that's going to be repeated again this term as well. So anyone new or anyone that just wants a nice refresher on the basics, then it's Charlotte that's hosting that for us. Charlotte, I believe that we've just had an email come out as a reminder, haven't we, as well?
Yeah, first session is tomorrow. So if you've got any new careers leaders or know of anyone, the link, I'll post the sign up link in the chat.
Perfect. Or even on that, if you've got someone else within your school or college that you that either wants to know a bit more about careers, or that you're thinking in terms of succession or bringing into your careers team, then a great sort of introductory series of workshops for that. So great as a series, but you can also dip in and out of the different workshops as well if you want to. And finally, there's been a ton of school and college training, so both within the schools but also our careers leader networks, and yeah, lots and lots of training that's taken place. Our careers leader networks last term mainly focused on employer engagement tactics, and great to hear some of the ideas that were coming up from that as well. And we've also had also last term we had 90% of our schools having at least one introduction from us to a employer, whether that's through careers leader network meetings, through the WEX pilot, through direct employer introductions, or responses to industry champion requests. So lots and lots of introductions. Most schools have had around 5 actually, so really great to see that there's more and more connections between you guys and the employers coming through on that too. Right, before I need to catch my breath anymore, I'm going to hand over to Maddie, who's going to give us an update on the WEX pilot that's currently going on this year.
Thank you. That sounds like we've been doing a lot, Hyla.
As always, as always. Wait till you hear about next time.
I was going to say, so yeah, I will go through it quickly, but there has been so much that's happened in term 1 and term 2 with the WEX pilot. So with regards to overall, it's been really, really positive. We've been working with 16 schools just to try to ready the system and just to try and kind of help them yeah, just sort of let's start thinking about work experience and putting things in place. So we've had so much strong engagement from schools and employers, which has been amazing, and it's given us a chance for some really kind of high quality opportunities, and I'm pleased to say that as at the moment it's very clear that it's working, the model is working. There are still a lot of teething stages or maybe that needs tweaking, but it has been, what we have seen has been really successful. So just some stats really. So across term 1 and term 2, we've reached just over 1,000 students that have taken part in WEX experiences that we've organised with schools. Majority of those were Key Stage 3 students because that has been a big emphasis on the WEX pilot. So it's still allowing those schools that do want to do the year 10 block placements, they can still keep that, but it's now kind of really thinking about Key Stage 3. So there's been a big emphasis on that. So that's been quite reassuring for a lot of the schools, just to show how those meaningful experiences can happen. In terms of employer engagement, as Hyla just mentioned, it's really increased this year. Thank you to our employer team. During term 2 alone, we've introduced 31 new employers across our schools for this pilot. 23 of them have been existing employers that have re-engaged. So we've kind of gone back through some of those cold employers, reached out to them and started sort of speaking to them about work experience. And it's been great because we've had some really positive feedback. So they've now started re-engaging. We're really starting to see sort of confidence kind of growing with our employers, which has been lovely to see. We're kind of still on that track of changing that kind of stigma of that has to be that one block placement and it's something they couldn't possibly kind of offer. But now we're really starting, now we're explaining to them what it is about. We're seeing some really some great ideas coming through. just an example of some of the employers that we've been working with: Colchester Zoo, Royal Mail, Chelmsford Theatre, ARU, a variety of museums across the county, and the NHS have now just kind of started some of their very first, they've sort of started opening their doors for Key Stage 3, which has been amazing. And the first visit is due to take place this week, so I'm really excited about that. What else? There's been so much. So what's been really lovely with some of these experiences is that they've not been full days. They have just been short 2-hour encounters. So it's, you know, it's taken that worry of taking students off a timetable all day, or, you know, employers saying we can't give a whole day up. So a lot of these have been just trialed with half-day experiences, which has worked really well as well. I think one of the main things of kind of what's driven the success of the pilot would be obviously the flexible models. We've kind of listened to the pilot schools and tried tweaking what they've already got. We've not tried to reinvent the wheel. We've looked at kind of what school trips they're already doing. We're reaching out to those employers that they've been working with and seeing how they can be tweaked into workplace experiences. So that's definitely the flexible delivery models have been a real kind of success. We've produced a toolkit. So one of the main things when speaking with the schools is kind of reaching out to those employers. How do we get the messaging right for them? So we've really helped with, we've produced some employer outreach templates. So it makes it easy for our career leaders. They can just kind of ping out those emails, but tweaking it in a way of what benefits the business, not necessarily just always asking for employers, which has been quite important. FSQ, I know Adam will love me for this. I've worked with some of the schools on their FSQ data as well, and therefore we've really been able to tailor their approaches on, rather than those whole school, that whole year sort of approach. We've really started tailoring the sort of workplace experiences and taking small cohorts, which in turn has really helped with meeting that kind of meaningful criteria as well. You've probably seen loads of LinkedIn posts as well. A lot of our schools, again, I've sort of said to them the importance of engaging on LinkedIn, and that's in turn kind of helped them with their employer engagement as well. Am I all right for time, Carly, Hyla? This is how much has been happening in just 2 terms.
Absolutely.
We had our WEX first community of practice as well, which was brilliant. We had SLT, some members of SLT there along with our career leaders. So that was great. As usual, best practice is always kind of shared. And we heard from some of the schools that I know Hyla spoke about earlier, that had taken part in the peer-to-peers. And actually now in turn is now on the school improvement plan, and also heads of departments are now aware. And rather than those visits kind of falling on the career leader shoulders, they're now kind of all subjects teachers are now kind of taking responsibility, so involving it in those school trips, and that in turn has come out from a peer-to-peer as well. Co-design, like I mentioned earlier, we had looked at school trips. We've looked at kind of what is working, what's not working. Not all, you know, I'd be totally honest, some school trips we've looked at and gone, actually, no, that's not, we can't make that workplace experience. But others we have made work, which has been brilliant. And we've kind of helped the career leads in taking that kind of responsibility off of them, and we've reached out directly to the employers and actually giving them a bit of CPD on what work experience is now. So I think lastly, our WEX working group, we've now kind of upskilled. We've got a great employer network now for work experience. We've been upskilling them on the Equalex model. So yeah, there's more and more ideas and sort of collaboration happening. So it's been really positive and extremely extremely busy. So I think kind of moving ahead next year, it's definitely given these pilot schools lots to think about, but hopefully in a way of kind of not, it's taken that worry away from them, that actually it's not about reinventing the wheel, it's really about looking at what we've got and tweaking it. So I'm looking forward to kind of it going out to the wider, so, you know, to everybody across the county. And yeah, it's exciting. There's so much happening, but I'm conscious of my time as well.
No, don't worry. No, it's great to hear of all the stuff that's happening, and brilliant for those schools that chose to opt in to be part of that WEX pilot, didn't they? So this was an opportunity that was offered to all mainstream schools across Essex, because there was other support that was going into the special schools and APs, but all mainstream schools across Essex. And these 16 schools came forward and said, yep, we want to be involved in this. And subsequent to that, they've had all of this support that has gone in. We know also, don't we, that the employers are, and well, Claire, I won't steal your thunder, but the employers are absolutely loving that co-design piece, that opportunity to look at what they already deliver, but actually tweak it and have that support from us to be able to do that. So, which is fantastic, which I'm hoping, Claire, leads me neatly on to you.
Why, thank you. Afternoon, everybody. My name is Claire. I work alongside all the employers. So myself and my colleague Ben are the ones that are going out north and south of Essex, knocking on the doors, speaking to the employers, and trying to get these meaningful work experiences for all your students. So I'll just take a few minutes just to update on the employer engagement, what the employers are telling us, what's working well, and how creating more opportunities for your students is coming along. So first of all, sort of key topics that recent employer engagement sort of webinars we've had. So employers are coming to us. They are saying that they want clear, purposeful engagement. They don't want just the one-off visits, you know, the old-fashioned work experience. They are wanting to see students come in at a younger age, so that year 8, maybe year 7, year 9, and watching them grow, you know, sort of coming in every year, seeing if there's any spark of that, you know, interest in what they are do as a business. They're also really keen to understand what works for schools and students, and what they want, what you want, what the students want from each encounter. That was really, really strong and clear, and that they want to do these meaningful encounters rather than just coming in and doing a career talks. They like to spot the, you know, future talent, and they want to see students come through the progression over the years, and be interested in the business. So recent conversations, just for an example, employers have been asking how they can link activities to real lessons, so that when they do like school visits come into them, that they can run practical challenges, so like engineering, construction, or just business, and rather than just talking about sort of job titles. They're really keen to sort of do these practical challenges and events with the students, and I think it's more engagement. So the employers as well, so don't stress, they are not expecting schools to organise everything. They are happy and want to work with you, work with us, and shape these encounters to make sure that it fits your students. Oh, we've got a hand up. Do you want to wait until the end, or do you want to do that now?
Yeah, no, Claire, go for your bit, and then Carly will come to you in a sec, if that's all right.
Yeah, okay. So positive response to WEX, really positive, that's all I'm going to say. They love the flexibility. For employers, the flexibility that WEX is giving them means that you know, they can engage. It's not that great big work placement where they struggle to find something to do for a one student for 10 days, 5 days. Employers find that really difficult. With the WEX, it's so much more flexible. You know, that shorter placement, it's more purposeful engagement. There's small groups of students rather than just one. So, you know, we're able to offer more experiences for more of them. And they really like that flexibility. They can handle that, and you know, they are more and more willing to sort of open their doors. And because obviously we can do them shorter placements, and they're more manageable for them. Just for an example, so we had a business, and we did a rotation of between different departments, but every rotation they sort of took like a part in hands-on experience and task from the different staff. So that worked really, really well for the students and the business, because it was like business related. So that was really nice. And then obviously with that flexibility, it also helps yourselves. So, you know, I know a lot of schools do struggle with them long placements, but obviously the smaller ones, we can get more students in. And it also, the bite size and regular experiences are really supporting them students that are lacking from confidence. So it's not so long. They've got, you know, other students that are there with them as well. So that just helps with confidence. We've seen a lot of, you know, students that don't normally talk or are a bit shy, actually putting their hands up and sort of really engaging in the tasks, which is really, really nice. So just some examples of meaningful encounters that have been delivered. So most employers are now offering sort of them workplace visits, if the smaller workplace visits with the practical tasks. Careers talks that are linked to real roles and like the pathways. A lot of the businesses now are giving like, you know, managers are coming in from different departments and, you know, sort of really speaking about how they got to where they were. If they had difficulties in schools, they're really opening up and showing students that everything is possible. It is just a case of starting off, you know, on the floor, and when, you know, just how hard you want to work is where you're going to get in life. Interactive challenges have been really, obviously, because of the WEX. We are designing them so that it's interactive, it's, you know, meaningful, it's also linked to your curriculum, and it's really good for them problem solving tasks for students and teamwork and collaboration. Staff carousels, so we will do them sort of sessions where students sort of meet different job roles within different departments and they can ask different questions, sort of opening doors that they didn't even know existed. So then we're going on to SEND. So more employers for me have been stepping forward, wanting to work with SEND, APs, you know, that inclusive engagement. What it's looking like, small groups, that works really, really well. It's a little bit more structured, but, you know, employers are opening up to reasonable adjustments. And again, you know, employers are not expecting perfection. They just want guidance from schools, and they're really keen to learn. And it's, you know, we had one today actually, and it was absolutely amazing. So yeah, hopefully we'll put that on our website and you can have a read of the event that took place today. So overall, employee engagement is moving in a really positive direction. Real strong interest in the work experience, focusing on that meaningful encounters, growing commitment on the SEND and AP support. So myself and Ben's role is just to continue matching the right employer to the right school for the right students. And if you're ever unsure of what employee engagement will work best for you or your students, just let us know. We're here to help, obviously, you know, design something that fits all your needs.
Amazing. Thank you, Claire. Yeah, and do definitely keep an eye out, everyone, on our website and on our LinkedIn for the update on the Poster Pringle challenge that took place today, which sounds absolutely amazing. It's all to do with the logistics sector and bits. So yeah, sounds fantastic. And I suppose also just to mention, and Claire, I know you, well, we've all found this actually, but Claire, I know you've particularly found it, is quite often if employers might say that they don't really know where to start, or that we've got this offer but we don't really know where it is. And actually where then we introduce the meaningful criteria, but also the EqualX model. If you haven't looked at that already, absolutely do, because where we've introduced that, the employers have then gone, oh yeah, that's the bit that I want to focus on, that's the learning objective that I need. And it's helped them to sort of, rather than it just being quite an open ask, to really sort of narrow down on what it is that's useful for them as a business, and therefore in turn hopefully you as a school as well. So so really great, but do keep an eye out for that poster Pringle. It sounds very interesting. I'm sad that I wasn't there with you. Carly, you had your hand up. What was your question or comment? Sorry to keep you waiting as well.
No, don't worry about that. That's fine. Thanks, Claire. I think it all sounds really exciting, and the work that you're doing is so needed. It's just that within our provision, we're a hospital school working with mental health students aged between 13 and 18. Yeah. And actually, for us, meaningful work experience is an employer just coming in and talking about what they do, where they go, the type of people that they're looking for, the type of students like young people they're looking for, how their CV can stand out. Regular contact would be really hard for us, because children can stay with us from 1 month to 3 months.
Yeah.
Also, we are looking for employers that are willing to come into a hospital, talk to our young people, not have that continued kind of, they're not necessarily going to see the outcome. But if I was able to offer the reasons why this is important, what it means for our young people, and actually how meaningful that is to have an external employer come into our hospital and talk to us, do you think that they would still come and see us?
Absolutely. Yeah, we'll catch up. And
okay.
we'll have a conversation.
I'll put
it in the chat for you.
Sorry, Claire. What I'll do is I'll send you an email, and I'll book a meeting in with you, myself and Claire, and we can have a conversation about what that could look like.
That would be really great, because
but there's lots of employers. Yeah, there'll be lots of employers that we can help support with that. Not a problem.
Lovely. Thank you very much. That was all, but it is great work. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Carly, I suppose also to mention that you said about what's appropriate for your students, and obviously you have a very specific setting, don't you?
Yeah.
But it is about what's appropriate for your students. And I know where Charlotte's working with some of the special schools as well as the APs, that it is about what's right for them. And even Maddie mentioned earlier about using FSQ to really lock into the students that are going to get the most out of it, even if that's in a mainstream setting. So it is about what's right for your students at that time as well, isn't it? And like you say, that long-term sustained engagement, in a way you almost hope that you don't need that for your students, because you're hoping that they're not having to be in the hospital so long. So it is just about what's right for your students essentially. So don't worry too much about that bit. But yeah, Charlotte and Claire will give you some support on that, which will be really exciting.
Thank you, Charlotte. Thank you, Claire.
Maddie.
Yeah, just quickly to say that I know a lot of people, because I've had a couple of emails asking for some resources from just kind of examples of what how it might be delivered, sort of Key Stage 3 especially. The CEC at the moment haven't got a huge, they don't want to update all the examples at the moment on the resource directory, just purely because it's a pilot. And although we know at the moment, we're aware of kind of what might be in place, things do change. So, but what they are saying is just kind of every now and then go onto the resource directory and see if there are updates. But obviously that will come as soon as there are updates and we've been made aware it's on the resource directory, us and your other ECs will send you the links. But yeah, at the moment they are holding off for examples just because they want to see what works and purely what doesn't work, really.
Yeah, we will be as a hub, so our hub conference in July, which Carly will remind us of the date later on, because I can't remember off the top of my head, which is really bad. That is a focus on WEX, so it'll be very much the learnings from everything that has happened this year with WEX and what we know from other areas, some great key speakers on that, and also hearing about some of the schools and employers that have been involved in this pilot year as well. So there'll be lots more information coming through from that as well, which is great. Fab. Thanks, Maddie. Thanks, Claire, for the update. Carly, if we move on to the next slide, I just wanted to highlight these 2 pages on our website. So we have a bunch of case studies on there, which is growing all the time. Carly, do you want to click on that link so we can see what they look like as well? So on our website, do pretty much everything we do goes on our website, so do make use of our website. So we have our case studies one here. You can see the last few have been mainly around work experience, so you can see the type of activities for these day visits that have been happening, and also there's a couple there on how there's a focus also in that about what the employers are getting out of it too, which if you're speaking to your employers you've already got relationships with, then a really useful piece there. There's also news articles that we have on here too. So they will include updates on various things we're doing. They include our good news stories. So at the end of every half term, there's some examples of what's going on in the different schools from around the area, from around the county, and also some of the employers that are getting involved too. There you go, good news stories. You can see that straight as you go there. So a good, a happy end of term read for you really, and perhaps to give you some ideas of other, of what's going on. It will also tell you if it's specific to specific schools or different people within our team. Then you can also touch base with them after to find out some more as well if you want to. So yeah, there you go. So there's some fantastic stuff that's been going on there. The one there that's being shown is about the alternative provisions and that positive destinations project. So if you do want a bit more information on that, that's there, but the full report will be coming out soon on that as well. So yeah, just tells you about all the great stuff. Oh God, there's that picture there of us on doing our LinkedIn training, which we didn't realise was being taken. That's interesting. Yeah, and that picture there is actually from the Royal Mail Sorting Office, so it shows some of that poster Pringle type work that's been going on as well. So yeah, just to highlight really, I suppose that our website is available for you. It will give you some insights of what other areas are doing and to see if there's any bits that you want to do as well. Also to highlight on the next slide is our menu of support. So for the summer term, Carly's going to go through most of this in just a second, but if ever you're wondering what's coming up or perhaps what's available for you, then the menu of support is there, and it tells you about all the different things that are happening, which Carly's going to run through in a sec anyway. Actually, Carly, whilst you're there as well, I know you wouldn't do this, but just to highlight as well the Workforce Spotlight. So these used to come out to you as a separate newsletter, but we realised that you guys get quite a lot of newsletters. So this page now, so this is from any resources, employer links, anything that we know that's going on is put on here. Your ECs will then pick out the ones that they think is most useful to you to let you know. But do always keep an eye on that, because that's sort of the most up to date in terms of what our partners have been telling us is going on. As you can see, there's quite a lot. So perhaps using the search function might not be such a bad plan for you on that, because the search function on this website is pretty good actually. Great. So yeah, so just keep an eye on our website and check in particularly on that menu of support and the Workforce Spotlight. So next thing I wanted to run through was the bit that my team always fear when I say data, but a little bit for an update for you. So just some insights in terms of last term. So thank you to the 81% of you that completed your Compass return last term. Hopefully it wasn't quite so much of an ordeal as the first term when you had to redo everything. This one there was an option for you to copy and just update as there was for the old style one. So 81% of you completed. We are for the first time actually across Essex now in line with the national average for the benchmarks fully achieved. So that's 3.1, which is a massive achievement. So just to put that into some sort of context, when the Careers Hub first started, we was the last area within England to get a Careers Hub here in Essex, which is very sad, but nonetheless true. And at the time, the average benchmarks was about 4, I think. And in Essex, across Essex, we started on it was less than 1. It wasn't great. And we have never really fully caught up to the national average until last term. So whilst obviously the benchmarks have changed this academic year, but nonetheless looking in line with national average, it's the first time all your hard work across all of your settings is really paying off. And in fact, in some areas, so for colleges and for special schools, actually, we're way above the national average. So well done if you're particularly in one of those settings. We saw that every single benchmark across the board between term 1 and term 2 has improved, which is really fantastic. I'm guessing that's probably because you're getting used to the questions, because lots of activities happened, that sort of thing. The one, however, that I do want to get your feedback on really is benchmark 5. So this is the employer encounters one, and across the county our achievement of benchmark 5 is far lower than the national average. The rest of them are pretty much either higher or on, and for benchmark 5 it's far lower. And really I want to pick your brains to find out why you think that might be, and if there's any ideas of how we can support or how any of our partners can support with that, because say it is a lot lower. So I'm going to open it up to you guys a little bit, either pop it in the chat or but even better, raise your hand, shout out loud. Sort of what is it with that benchmark 5? Is it the new meaning? Is it parts of the meaningful criteria? Is it the way that you used to run it compared to how you have to do them now might be different? What are you thinking it might be around that benchmark 5 that's proving a challenge? Oh, I've got a hand up. Go ahead.
Hiya, it's Donna from Grays.
Yeah.
Hello. My concern with benchmark 5 is I sometimes don't know, because when we do our work experience, it's quite bespoke. So it's not necessarily for the whole cohort. So when I'm actually filling that in, I don't want to put almost majority. I'm putting the one below that because it's not everyone in the year group. Can you give me some guidance around how I can get around? Because we don't necessarily have a whole week out at the minute. We are changing it, but we don't necessarily have a whole week out for the whole cohort. So it's just bespoke. So it's always going to be a bit lower because we're not doing all of them.
So I suppose, do you know the students that haven't had an employer encounter?
Yeah, because we track.
So where it is bespoke across, is there still a central list that says these guys haven't had it through their subjects or through whatever else?
Yeah, we put it on Compass Plus, so I can see.
Oh, perfect. So you can see the percentages. Yeah.
And
so,
who hasn't.
So I would say probably, I mean, it sounds like you're doing the right thing then in terms of the way that you're reporting it. The only thing I would say within that is we did have a couple of schools that weren't putting 100% down, which is a tough thing to tick that box, isn't it? But they weren't putting that down because they had some student absences on that day, which is going to happen no matter what. And so therefore they didn't put 100, but therefore you're never going to be able to put 100, are you, if you go with that route? Whereas if you think actually this was almost put on for every single student, it's just some students weren't in for it, that's almost not, I'm going to say it's not your fault that they weren't in. That's not quite the right wording.
That helps me with other areas actually. So some of the other areas as well, I feel that I never put 100% because I feel that some kids were absent. It's only a minority, but I think, then that's not in the 100%. But actually, it's right. I've put it on for everyone. It's just a few students didn't attend. Okay.
Yeah.
That's a better way to look at it,
particularly if it's an absence thing. So I suppose if it's a choice, like it's at lunchtime and they've chosen not to, that's a bit different. But if it's something where you have put on a careers carousel for all of your year 8s, that would be quite an undertaking, but all of your year 8s, but actually you had 10 students that were off that day, that's an absence, isn't it? That's almost sounds awful, but it's not them opting out on purpose, but it's them choosing not to come to that, isn't it? So
and I suppose I could follow up.
It's an optional. Well. I mean, I would definitely say keep a track of who does and doesn't come, which, like you say, you'll be able to do through your Compass Plus, particularly with these with the absences from school, because that tracks attendance. But so you definitely want to see if there are any trends through that, because if we know that students with persistent non-attendance or high non-attendance, they're the young people who are far more likely to become NEET at the end, which we obviously none of us want, and absolutely goes against the whole point of careers curriculum, doesn't it? So and there is something there to be looking at, but that's probably looking at as a wider picture with the rest of your school, with attendance officers and SOT and everyone else. But yeah, in terms of don't worry too much about that 100% and thinking, oh, there's a couple of kids absent. That's not your doing.
Okay.
So,
Thank you so much for that.
Sorry, can I
That's
just
okay.
quickly say, if you click like overwhelming majority, you'd hit that benchmark.
yeah.
So that overwhelming majority is, and someone will correct me, is a 75% to, I think it's 95% now. It's slightly different, and that will help you hit that benchmark as well. So is anything that's under 75 that you wouldn't achieve that sub benchmark?
I don't know if it's different for mainstream, if it is to send, but there's an almost all, which is 91 to 95%, which gets you the benchmark. For us, I don't think if the overwhelming gets it anymore, which it used to, but there is that. So there's that I say sort of
depending on what the question is.
So maybe it's just a case of me being kinder to myself as opposed to
absolutely
looking 100%
on that 100%.
It's that.
No matter what it is, I'm always going to agree with that. So yeah, absolutely.
Thank you.
And if you ever do have any questions about sort of specific questions and what about this or what about that when you're doing your compass assessment, then there are drop-ins. I think Laura, I know you definitely do, Adam. I think you're looking at it as group in terms of sort of drop-ins for some of those. So do always ping us a question if you're unsure, and we can either answer it over email or jump on a call with you. So, but yeah, definitely not being quite so hard on yourself is always a good plan.
Thank you.
Any other thoughts on that benchmark 5 and why across Essex it might be so much lower? Anyone else got any other thoughts? My team, anything that you think might have come up from your schools that you want to sort of share the idea that maybe this is why, and see if any schools agree or disagree? Is it just a random anonymity?
I didn't know if anybody had any feedback on sort of employer capacity, because obviously benchmark 5 relies heavily on employers taking part, on engaging in your school, and whether people have much trouble in terms of like cancellations or getting employers booked in, or if it was something to do with the employers capacity or not. I'm just throwing it out there.
Lauren?
I don't think it's necessarily in terms of the employer capacity, because we're really fortunate with obviously our programme being on a lot wider scale, being within the college. For me, it's the 5.3 bit where I've got 5.1 and I've got 5.2. They're green, they're at the absolutely, the whole programme's designed for absolutely anyone and everyone. It's when you start breaking it down to, and I wouldn't say necessarily meaningful, because all experience is meaningful and you can put that spin on it, but it's when the purpose, the aims, the reflection of that, because a lot of that is outside of our remit. So that doesn't fall to me, then that starts going into the curriculum areas and the sector areas. But to be said, and like the other lady said, that can probably be reliant on a lot of my answers. Especially then when you start putting into it, like benchmark 2, for example, well, you put on all of these activities, but what extent to how confident would the learners be to reply, and all of those. So I think that's where the terminology becomes a little bit grey, and it manipulates the figures ever so slightly, but quite detrimental, because I don't think I'll ever get past the 92 on benchmark 5. Because I can't, for the sheer volume that we have of the numbers of that. I couldn't ever go to majority or overwhelming, if not all, but that's based on my settings. So that's where that's led to me. a school might be different.
Yeah, so it's potentially the introduction of all the elements of that meaningful criteria. It's particularly the reflection piece after, because because reflection should be reflection, shouldn't it? It shouldn't just be an evaluation form at the end of it going, did you enjoy it or not? That's not reflection. That's whether they got out of maths or English or not and how happy they were in it. So so it's that takes almost that should be after the, like, way after the event, or at least a little bit after, shouldn't it? And maybe, and so then comes into the remit of others.
It's not a prescribed time frame for us, especially from a college point of view, because we've got people going out 1 day a week, we've got block placements happening throughout the year, then obviously we've got them through holidays and all those sorts of things. So especially for our setting, that is where that's never gonna fully achieve that one.
Thank you for those insights. Really, really useful actually, and we can get some breakdown on those, the sub benchmarks, and looking at that meaning for the different elements of the meaning criteria. So maybe we'll have a little bit more of a look at that. I'm conscious of time, so I'm going to move us on, but if you do have any other comments on that, please do put it in the chat. Anything is really useful on that. Carly, I'm going to move us on for this, like onto the next bit as well, because of time, if that's okay. So hand over to you.
No worries. I've just noticed it as well. We're flying through. So just a few dates to flag really for a couple of events that we've got coming up in the next few months before we sort of break for summer. But some of the bigger ones that we have, and again, this is all available on the menu for support, but just wanted to highlight them to you while we've got you here. So our conference is Thursday, the 2nd of July. So will be at Anglia Ruskin University again at the Chancellor campus. And this is where we'll bring together our employers, educators, training providers, all our career professionals across the county, really. This is going to have a huge focus on WEX and the sort of findings from the pilot this year. And we're going to have a WEX panel where we can hear both from the schools that have taken part and the employers who have taken part in the pilot project, as well as some work experience. I keep saying WEX all the time, as well as some work experience workshops and some other workshops that are going to be aimed towards T-levels and SEND and NEET. So lots going on that day. So obviously get yourself booked on. We did have a waiting list last year because we met the capacity. So if you are intending on coming, I suggest you get yourself booked on. We also have got some masterclasses running this term. So we've got the 6th of May and the 24th of June, which is going to be focused on applying data. So interpreting and applying data from your future skills questionnaire and On Track Plus to helping you to identify priorities and track progress more efficiently. So they will be taking place online. And then new careers lead training, which is what we mentioned earlier that Charlotte ran this year, this term. She's going to be running again this term, starting tomorrow. And they take place on Tuesdays, 12:15 to 1:15. It's every other week, Charlie, isn't it? Or no?
No, it's every week. So it's for 5 weeks consecutively. Yeah.
There we go. A series of workshops. So just give you the tools, knowledge and connections. And as we said earlier, even if you're not a new careers lead, but you want to, you like the look of the agenda and you want to come along, then do go along. You don't have to go to all of the workshops to take part. You can dip in and out as you wish. And then Charlie, I'm just quickly going to hand over to you quickly to your Send in Mainstream workshop taking place in person on the 14th of July. That is fastly filling up as well. So I wanted you just to quickly explain that one in case anybody wants to get in there and book their ticket before they're all sold out.
Yeah, that's cool. So it's being held at Patch in Chelmsford. So it's in the High Street. So there's parking nearby. And then obviously you can walk over to the centre itself. So the idea is for mainstream schools to come together. So the careers leaders to come along, but also bring along any SENCOs or SEND team that they've got, pastoral leads, and it's looking at the provision that you've got for your SEND students and their careers curriculum, and looking at how we can strengthen that and adapt that, looking at vocational profiling, the accessibility of workplace experiences and transitions, and exploring strategies to support you with that. So I look after the special schools and alternative provisions, and I've worked in special ed for the last 18 years. Well, it doesn't such things, but like a really long time. So I'll be leading on that session and hopefully getting in some information from sort of other stakeholders that we work with and other partners to support with that workshop. So yeah, as Carly said, it's filling up quickly, mainly because it's an invite not just to careers leaders but also to the SENCO or SEN teams, because it's really important that you guys are all working together and having those conversations and using the expertise from the careers leaders, you know, their knowledge of careers, but the SEN teams and the SENCOs, their knowledge of the students and the sort of individual approaches that they might need. So yeah, so if you're interested, please bring along your SENCO or any SEN team and sign up to the session. I will post the Eventbrite in the chat, so you can sign up for that.
Yeah, all of these links will be sent out tomorrow in the follow-up email as well. And finally, the 16th of July, we've got our WEX Meet and Mix. So for those schools that have opted in to take part in the WEX pilot and also the Future Ready project, they've got an invite to the Meet and Mix, which is where we'll get schools together with employers again to talk about our favourite subject, work experience. Just to follow up as well, we have already organised our teacher encounters, which are all sorted. Well, so far we've got 4 sorted, ready for next academic year. So the teacher encounters are designed not only just for careers leads, but the subject teachers as well, or other people from departments, so that you can truly meet Benchmark 4. The careers learning can be embedded within the curriculum. It's not just all falling on one person. So this is a great opportunity to get some more teachers, you know, dipping their toe into the world of careers. So we've got Malden and Tiptree Football Club, who will be hosting a teacher encounter in September, where you can learn about their post-16 and post-18 options. This is about careers within the sports industry, so ideal for sports coaches, PE teachers, as well as careers leads. You can learn about the different roles that are available in terms of supporting a football club, the coaching, the data analysis, the media, the business, the community engagement. And then we have in October a careers in finance teacher encounter. So this is ideal for any maths, STEM, business studies, economic teachers. This is going to be hosted by, so it's at the old Brentwood Rugby Club, but it's going to be hosted. We've got 3 keynote speakers at this. This is a full day, this one. This is, so we've got Rob Jubb from Bright Star, we've got Richard Austin from MBE, from Oakwood Insurance, and we've got Colin Field from Saffron Walden Building Society, all sharing their insight into their careers in finance. And we will deep dive on how we can link that into the curriculum. And then we've got, after Christmas, we've got Werner UK, where you can explore modern manufacturing, engineering and robotics in action, gaining insight into STEM curriculum delivery. And then finally, we've got the 5th of March, we've got Careers at Balfour Beatty. So they have done a teacher encounter in the past based on sort of career routes at Balfour Beatty, but this time they really want to focus on the digital side of things. So that one is going to be aimed at, again, science, maths, engineering, computer science teachers. That one, though, there is a caveat, it's open to schools within 20 miles of the Lower Thames crossing. So it's just, we're conscious, we know what it's like to try and get teachers off timetables, so that's why we've done these so far in advance. We know that timetabling and supply cover and everything can be a nightmare. So this is why we've got these dates out to you early. So we'll follow up tomorrow by sending these across. So hopefully we can get as many people as possible to these events. Finally, just to flag again, don't forget about our careers lead group. We have it on LinkedIn. If you're not a member of it, then please join. At the moment, it can be a bit of a here's another thing we found, here's another thing we found, here's another thing we found. So do use it as a chance to reach out to other careers leads, use it as sort of you know, a place to share ideas and you know, if there's any challenges coming up that you found that where you want to get some ideas from other careers leads, or you want to sort of have that conversation, then do please feel free to use it. It's a private group. It's the careers leads that are in it. We monitor it all. So please feel free to get active on that careers lead group. And then I just leave you really with next steps. So still lots going on this academic year. We're getting there. And oh, sorry, there's a poll just popped up there.
Sorry, that was me. I just wanted to give people another opportunity to tell us which bit was hard. So yeah, sorry.
That's all right. So we've got Little Slow still going on. Make sure you sign up to the conference, but importantly, everything is going on the website. Website's had a big rehaul over the last few months, so everything's going on there. So menu of support is on there. It's constantly being updated, so do keep your eye on it, because that's where we're putting all of the new information, as well as emailing that out to you. That is always up to date, so you use it. Any questions? Look at that, I managed to run through that in about 8 minutes.
You did well. Yeah, thanks guys. I realise we've run over by 2 minutes, so I understand if people need to hop off. If you can give us an indication on that poll in terms of benchmark 5, sometimes it's a bit easier than putting things in the chat and putting your hands up. We will stay on, because normally we give tons of time for Q&A and we haven't given any, so we will stay on for a couple of minutes if anyone does have a question, but if not, we'll stop the recording, and you'll get an email tomorrow with the follow-ups with all the links and everything on here for this termly kickoff, and hopefully it was helpful for you this afternoon. So thanks everyone for coming. If you do want to hang on for a question, if you've got any questions, then do shout. That's absolutely fine, but if not, aware that we've overrun, so feel free to hop off if you haven't got any questions. Thanks everyone.